Okay, so I have a more detailed video of Natasha Akpabio explaining, according to her story, how Gospel Akpabio was toasting her, right? Now, before I play you this video, let's not forget that it's possible she's lying. And it's also possible she's telling the exact whole truth. How are we going to confirm if she's lying or if she's telling the exact whole truth is what we'll discuss after this video. But first and foremost, let us hear her out.
Is it you alone, or this is a particular trend?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to explain that.
Yes.
Yes, so many people do not know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to speak my own truth.
Speak.
And the Senate President is allowed to counter that.
Of course.
It all started on the 8th of December, 2023, which was a day before his birthday
2 years ago.
My birthday. We are birthday mates. We were all in Akpabio because he had a big fanfare in the stadium. Myself, my husband, and a few of his close friends.
Okay.
We went to Akpabio. And at first we were at Ikotepene. We were in his house in Ikotepene. Then we all moved to his house in Uyo, which was about 8 p.m.
Okay.
And he held my hand and said he wanted to show me around his house. My husband was walking behind us. Just three of us were walking around from room to room. He showed me the beautiful interior. This was done by this, by that. This designer here, he bought this from. I thought, God, it's beautiful. Okay. And then I noticed that he hastened his pace while still holding my hand. And my husband was behind, still on his phone, but he was catching up wherever he could. And then he got to this particular sitting room, and he said, "Do you like my house?" I said, "Of course, sir. Every room, beautiful, nice interior, quality taste." He said, "Now that you're a senator, I'm going to create a time for us to come spend quality moments here. You will enjoy it." At that point, I just pulled away and I was like, I didn't understand what exactly that meant.
We understand.
But then my husband now, when I turned around, I saw my husband was already near me. And the way my husband looked at me and looked at him, I was beginning to wonder, did he hear part of that exciting statements or not? And then the Senate President too, I saw that he also had that thought, like, did my husband hear the invitation to treat or not? So then the Senate President now said, "Oh, by the way, let me show you my chapel." He has a chapel in his house as well.
Okay.
So when we were going to the chapel, we walked in silence and all. So that evening, before we left the Senate President's house at about 11 midnight to the 4 points in Ikotepene. And my husband asked me, "Natasha, what did the Senate President whisper to you? What was he telling you?" I thought, should I tell him that he was speaking about bringing me in here at a special time for us to have a good time? Or should I just kill it there, wrap it as if there was nothing? Because tomorrow was a big day. I know how much my husband adores the Senate President. He loves him as a brother. My husband would do anything to support him. So I told my husband, nothing. I can't remember what I created, but I just gave him some words to manage, to mask what was said. When we laid in bed, I lay to my right and my husband wrapped his arms around me and he said, "My love, you can't tell me anything." "What did the Senate President tell you?" Again, I was like, "Don't you believe me?" I said, "Nothing. Nothing. Moreover, it's my birthday in a few minutes. Let's just be happy."
To your husband.
And my husband told me he doesn't want to see me travel out of the country alone, and I should not go to the Senate President's house because he has a guest house where many senators do go there, after office to get approvals and all that.
Okay.
So I told him, okay, no problems. That was it. I thought that was going to be the end. But then, in February, I wanted to move a motion. I wanted to move a motion for the investigation on the ills of corrupt practice in Ajakuta Steel Company.
Okay.
I listed that motion 5 times. It was the 6th time that it was listed on the order paper that was approved. Many senators can testify to that. Each time the motion is listed, just before he takes it, he will say, "Oh, Senator Natasha, we can't take this motion because the board of the Senate does not accommodate it." Or he will speak on others and then let it drag so that just before motion is taken, the time will be well spent. So he kept on doing that. I went to him in his office. And I said, "Senate President, you know how important this Ajakuta Steel Company to me is. You know how important it is to my people and to Nigerians. I've noticed that you have stepped down this motion. As a matter of fact, a number of senators told me, go and see him and plead with him so that he will take it." I was like, "Sir, please, why can't you take this motion? It's very important. It's been listed." Then it was listed the 3rd time I stepped down. He then said, "Natasha, I'm the chief presiding officer of the Senate. You can enjoy a whole lot if you take care of me and make me happy."
Wow.
At that point, I said, sir, I'll pretend that I didn't hear this.
Take care of me.
He said, well, the ball is in your court. I left his office, and when I got home, I told my husband, I didn't tell my husband what happened. I just told my husband, please, can you speak to the Senate President to allow my motion to go through?
But the two of them are guys now.
I think I also spoke to the DSP, to the leader, Senator Payne. I spoke to a number of senators that they should please intervene and allow him to do that. I never told them what happened. My husband had to take a trip to London. Then the Senate President traveled to London. My husband met with the Senate President in London and pleaded with him. Let my wife take this motion on Ajakuta. That is very important to her.
Okay. All right, Senator
Natasha said, okay, that he did not take it because he was protecting me.
Oh.
Hold on, please. He didn't take it because he was protecting me.
You.
Protecting me from what?
Anyway,
at the time he finally, my demotion was taken, it was the Deputy Senate President, Senator Barrow, that actually sat. The Senate President stood up and walked out. So it was Senator Barrow that actually took it.
All right, Senator Natasha.
And from there, Natasha, many other incidents happened.
Yes, Senator
let's
Natasha.
Talk about the nightclub. Yes. Hold on, let's talk about the nightclub incident.
Professor Kila is going to ask you a question. I'm so sorry to have to interject here, but I just want to mention that, and I'm glad you gave the caveat at the beginning of your statement, that this is your side of the story, and the Senate President has the right to defend himself or to counter what happened between you privately. So what I assume, or for what you're saying, is that what happened last week Thursday began from a private conversation, and then you have felt like you've been maligned as a result of you not agreeing to certain propositions, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
what has happened? You know the same story of when a student keeps being failed.
Yes.
Please, let me say this, Ayo. You know the situation we see in universities whereby a student is continuously being failed just because she has not slept with the lecturer. That's what I've been facing, in simple terms.
Thank you. Professor Kila.
That is what I have been going through.
Thank you very much.
And now, moving to, should I speak?
Okay. Whether you like Godswill Akpabio or you are a fan of Natasha Akpabio, the best way to preside or give an opinion over this matter is to behave like, you know, that statue where they in front of court. If you close your eye, you're blind, so that you are not seeing a man or a woman, you are hearing two voices. Now you will put Natasha Akpabio on your right hand and put Akpabio on the left hand and swindle it equally. So let's look at things from two sides equally. Anytime a man has a problem with a woman, the next thing she wants to talk about, the next defense she wants to go to, is that the man they toast me and not agree, or the man tried to do something with me. We find it in every scenario between a man and a woman. Even that unique matter between that lecturer and that student. The student judge the story, go say, touch my body. It's normal. So sometimes it is hard for us to know who is lying or who is telling the truth. Because Natasha might be telling the truth here, and because it is a tool normally used by women, some people will say it is one of those tools. The next question is, can you prove what you're saying? This is a case of it tell me, I could tell and say, there's nothing we can hold as proof. Unless there's a phone conversation or a WhatsApp chat or something, which they likely don't have. Because these issues happen between them talking one-on-one, and I'm not sure Natasha have a recording of what had transpired during this period. In my last video, she talked about a WhatsApp call. That one can be proven, but that's a case of threat. But on this one now, it's only at your word versus my word. And we cannot be able to ascertain who is lying or who is telling the truth. It is painful because she might be telling the truth and the other person will go scot-free because she cannot prove it. And she might also be lying, and the other person's name is tainted because it's a woman that is saying it. You know, when woman enter fight with you, you don't lose 50% already. Now God will help you draw that fight. God will help you draw. Don't call it extra time. Now they either win or lose. So anywhere you see him, Akpabio is going to have a problem from the standpoint of the populace, because naturally we will support a woman. But the way he has been hitting on her, is quite too much. Yeah, on the floor of the Senate, the way they changed Natasha, Natasha was quite rude and agile over it. But the way Akpabio got carry and go security take her outside, she suspended her back. That was far too much, you know. Because he himself have done that before. And Saraki did not order security to take him out. But these accusations, the rumors flying around about Akpabio, is totally not palatable for a man of his status. I hope this matter comes to a reasonable conclusion. So I got to know late this morning that Natasha Akpabio was coming up on Arise TV. Yeah, she posted it on her Facebook page, but she did not put the time. So I did not know it was early this morning. I don't dare somebody come and say, oh boy, tune to Arise. Natasha don't scatter ground. Natasha say, go to Akpabio, the toaster. I say, hey! I talk and it looks like that. So quickly I ran to Arise News. I was able to capture all the clips, but I captured the very important 10 minutes. And then she pointed one or two reasons why she believed that they specifically picked her to change her seat, how they have been bullying her in the house, how the Senate President have been threatening her, how the Senate President have been toasting her. Let me play you the video. About 10 minutes video, but let's go.
Yeah. Exactly. Let me say this.
Yes.
His excuse that it's because there were 2 vacant seats due to the decamping of the senators, right?
Yeah.
And that they had to, why did they have to pick on me to start the shift? There were other senators that were in front of me that would have filled the seat. Why did it have to be me to fill in the seat at the far corner? But I will say this again. If you see where I sit at the back, there is a silent degrading of senators that, as they say, came from court.
Yeah.
We are made to feel as if we are lower than our other colleagues that resumed office and were sworn in earlier than us, even though we're all first-timers. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I remember when I asked, initially, I asked why I was not sitting amongst my other first-time colleagues.
Yes.
And I was told, that is because you resumed 6 months later. So it's almost like a punishment, because I resumed 6 months later. Therefore, I have to sit or take seats or wait for my other colleagues, whom we all run elections with together and won together, even though we were rigged.
So Senator,
I will made to sit at the back. So after me,
it seems clear to me, Senator Akpabio
2 weeks after me. Yes.
So it seems to me, from your own narrative, that you feel victimized and you feel you're being treated like a second-class senator in that place. Let me ask you a question based on your own narrative.
Yeah. I have a very important...
No, but very quickly, you're going to say, let me just ask you just this question.
Professor.
Yeah, just this very question. Do you feel that other senators in that house, male or female or different party, do you feel that they're standing up to what they ought to be doing, or do you feel they are also with their silence complicit with your victimization?
I think they are afraid.
I want you to judge the whole Senate, 109 men and women.
I think some of them are afraid.
No.
Okay. You don't feel they're complicit, and you don't want to...
Now, here it is. I have enjoyed tremendous support from my colleagues.
Okay.
And the fact that a number of my colleagues have not spoken out publicly in my defense or criticize what has happened does not mean that they do not visit me privately at home or they do not call on me to give me words of encouragement.
Okay.
Why they are yet to come up openly and criticize the activities of the Senate President, probably that's best known to them. However, one question I have been asked a number of times is, why are the women silent? Why are the 3 other women silent?
Yeah, so why, Senator? Why do you think they're silent?
The day I filed the suit of defamation
against Akpabio,
the suit that sexual act whereby the Senate President's SLA on new media, Mr. Patrick Mfong, sexualized me by addressing my attire as being transparent, and that the only thing I know how to do is to wear pancake to the chambers. So when I filed that suit, Senator Ireti Kingibe, hold on, Senator Ireti Kingibe, Senator
Natasha,
and Senator
we're low on time,
3 women who send messages to me that they do not support the litigation. And none of them have called, apart from Senator Ireti, that called my husband to tell me to withdraw that suit and all that. And my husband charged her that you were the same person who had come to the house to tell him that the SP was hitting on his wife sexually. So why are you now against my wife, standing up for her rights? So let me tell you something, Mr. which nobody knows. No, Mr. Rufai, please allow me to say this, please. Please go ahead. Can I say this?
Please go ahead, Senator. Please go ahead.
Now, at the nightclub incident,
yeah,
I believe that was not a slip of tongue.
Okay.
That was not a slip of tongue. He has a number of times told me There are various ways we can have fun. If we travel, he has a way of making the whole the house, the space. He can basically create a party in the space. Do you understand? Like a nightclub in the space and would have fun and all of that. So that nightclub incident statement was not a mistake. It was more like out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh.
Okay.
But let me say this. The day before please, Rufai, let me laugh.
Go ahead.
Let me speak.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
If you don't want me to speak, I'll walk out and complete this on my Facebook, please.
Please go ahead. We're trying to manage time, but go ahead and finish it quickly. We're trying to manage time, but please go ahead.
The night, or should I say that morning, early hours of the morning that he apologized, which was the 3rd of July, 2024. Okay. That was the morning he apologized. So the night I have it printed here. I have the screenshot of the call log. Of the phone call.
She ready.
It was 40 minutes past midnight when my phone rang. The leader of the House called me, Senator Michael Bamidele Akpabio called me. And he said, Senator, how are you? I said, I'm fine. He said, in the wake of all of this Rancor, if the Senate President goes down, I will go down too.
That's you.
And I said, what do you mean, sir? At that point, I woke my husband up because he had fallen asleep before me. I said, are you calling me to threaten me? I could hear murmurs from the Senate President. I could hear the Senate President's voice at the background because I could tell it was on speakerphone. He said, no, I'm just telling you that, there's a whole lot of attack on the Senate President. And if things go down, if he resigns or something happens, I should know that I'm going to be held responsible and I also go down. At that point, I started shouting.
Wow.
I was like, you can't call me at midnight and threaten me, sir. You can't do this. And mind you, I was actually surprised because the leader of the House is someone I respect greatly. He's a very good friend. He's a very calm person. And I believe, I'm saying it, that if he actually made those statements, he probably was told to do so. Yeah. So I dropped the line. And then I dropped the line. The first conversation was just 2 minutes, 33 seconds. Then my phone rang again at 26 minutes past midnight, that same day.
Okay.
And then it was the same call, Senator Akpabio's line, but then it was the Senate President's voice.
Okay.
He said, Princess of the Senate. That's how he calls me casually.
Princess of the Senate.
I've been attacked. My wife has not slept for days. She's been crying. She's received lots of insults, all because of you. I said, no, sir, it's not because of me. It's because of you. I didn't force you to order that statement. And I did not call on the support I received from Nigerian women. So don't blame it on me. Say, no, he's telling me this because the Dane of Agbo, I think he's a king in Agbo in Delta State. So the Dane of Agbo spoke with him and told him that that's the Senate President, was the most hated politician in Nigeria at that point. Mind you, that was a few days to the protest. There was this end bad governance protest on the 1st of August, and this incident happened like a week before. So he said the Dane of Agbo told him, Mr. Senate President, your rating is all low. You're one of the worst. You're one of the most hated politicians now. So I'll advise. He said the Dane of Agbo advised the Senate President to leave Abuja because if he is caught in the middle of the protest, he could be attacked by the Nigerians. Are
you serious?
I said, so why are you telling this, sir? He said he's telling me because he found it insulting that the Dane of Agbo would tell him to leave, to run away, to leave Abuja. And that he's telling me, so Natasha, I'm telling you, go and tell them that if anybody over the age of 20 approaches me during the protest, I will what is the word? Hold on. I will take that person down. The Senate President told me over the phone that based on the advice that the Dane of Agbo gave him, that he should leave Abuja in the wake of the protest so that he will not be caught and probably will not be approached or attacked by the youth. He said, Natasha, I have the capacity. I'm number 3 citizen. If anybody over the age of 20 dares to confront me, I will take that person down. That person should dare me with his life. I said, at that point, I started shouting. I now told my husband, he didn't know the phone was on speakerphone all the while because I'd woken my husband up from the first speak. I was like, my love, can you hear what he's telling me? This is exactly what he does. At that point, now when he knew, he was like, is your husband there? I said, yes, sir, my husband is here. And he heard everything. He then told me to pass the phone to my husband. And you know what he said? Immediately, he changed his tone. He was like, oh, Alema, I have a slot for you for an appointment from Delta State. Why don't you bring a nominee? And I took the phone back. I shouted at the Senate President. I said, you can't pacify us. You can't threaten me on one side and then pacify me, sir. I'm aware, even though the conversations took place on by WhatsApp, I know that the DSS and the NSS office, they have the tools to extract these phone calls.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to publish yes, sir.
Okay, Senator Natasha, thank you.
So and he told me that, well, all you want, hold on, please. He then told me that, Oshay, all I want is an apology. He would apologize on the floor that morning, and that he expects me to accept it. So all that morning, when I walked in, I was already threatened. I was already petrified. This is a man who had already called me at midnight, so I didn't sleep all night. I just had to say, okay, seamless apology.
Senator Natasha Akpabio, thank you so much for being here. He who alleges must prove. I'm sure you have all your proof, because they are on the other side are also going to demand all of it, and you have to put it out there. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for honoring us today with your presence.
Gospel Akpabio. There have been a lot of allegations on you. A lot of rumors, not allegations. A lot of rumors flying around over your matter. Right? People say you like women too much. That time when you about to cook for Lagos, you came to support her. And some of us were like, wow, wonderful senator. So people say, no, not be say because he wants about somebody from the state to, now because say this is happening, that is happening. Say, this is happening, that is happening, but we believed it was all rumor. Now we are hearing a senator who is somebody's wife, and you know her husband, telling us on live TV that you are telling her that there are many ways two of you can have fun. In the code of men, married women are a no-no. You stay away from married women. There are words you don't say to a married woman. That's why sometimes I feel disgusted when I see some men give another man's wife money. There are words you don't say to a married woman. Now, we don't know if she's lying up, because the office is definitely going to deny this. But she's saying it's a WhatsApp call, and the Nigerian government and security agencies has the tools to extract conversations from a WhatsApp call. So should we go down that line? I'm sure the Nigerian security agencies will want to do the right thing. But in a country where you are number 3 citizen, we will also not be shocked if they chicken out from doing the right thing. Be that as it may, these allegations and these rumors flying around about you are quite not palatable for a man who poses to be a responsible man. Please let us protect Natasha Akpabio with all the apparatus we have to protect the citizen of Nigeria, because now she has touched the tail of the tiger. Now, number 3 citizen for Nigeria, and she accused. So whether she's lying or she's saying the truth, she needs to be protected, because she's clearly saying that she has been threatened. They don't toast her and then they victimize her, and it will not be fair to leave her to be vulnerable to the hands of her oppressors. God will guide her and help her through as she continues this big game. It is well.